Okay, we'll start here, work session here in 2 minutes.
Push it twice. Push it again. Big green.
All right, if we could have your attention, we're going to call the work session of White County Board of Education for March 19th, 2026 to order. Appreciate everyone being here. We got several things to cover during this work session, so we'll work through that, primarily be looking at the items on our consent agenda. We do have several policies that we'll be reviewing, and we'll touch on those as we go through. So as we always do, we'll first start reviewing our board meeting minutes from February 12th. Any questions, clarifications, or corrections that need to be made on the board meeting minutes from February 12th? Okay, if nothing on our minutes for the board meeting, do we have any additions, corrections for the work session minutes that were presented to you for February 12th? Okay, if not, we're going to go through our policy report, and we're going to touch on, I think it is actually five policies, which includes the TSBA policy service renewal. One policy, I think it's item 4, 5116, that was placed in the on the agenda in error. So we'll start with the first policy, 2802. So on the highlighted item there on payroll procedures, first item, it's being suggested that we remove the administrative, non-administrative certified personnel will receive summer break pay at one time in June.
Try this. These are on their maiden voyage, so we'll see. Number 68. It's okay. We'll swap it out in just a little bit, but we might make a note 68. It's being a little finicky. So, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'll be glad to go through those just to kind of clarify those. So we've highlighted the portions in the procedures before you tonight, board members, that have been changed. It used to be a practice that we paid the staff positions their summer checks all at one time. They would get 3 checks in June. We don't do that anymore, so this is just clerical to eliminate the way that's done. Almost all of our employees spread their checks out over 12 months now, so we're just removing that segment in that policy. In policy 2803,
I do have one quick question on that one. Is that just, so you're saying clerical, where, now we're
yes, and we found most of our employees, even though they don't work in the summer, they like to receive payment in the summer. So they spread their checks out over really 24 pay periods because they get paid twice a month. So they spread that out. So we no longer offer that as a payment. We do have you can't opt out. We have just a handful of employees that have to sign a form and opt out to get paid during the school year. But we don't do that anymore where you get 3 checks in the summer. Policy 2803. So that it's taking out the language that says that an employee may change or terminate a salary deduction upon written notification to the director of schools by September 30th. So we don't allow that change anymore at that point. So if they have their deductions in place, those are the ones that approved deductions are the only ones that will be taken out, and they're set for the year. Also in policy 5110, this is something that's based on a new law that was passed, but it allowed for a deceased teacher's beneficiary to receive any unused accumulated leave benefits. So any leftover benefits would be paid out in cash to the beneficiary as listed in the TCRS system. So we've added that language. 5116, as we said, that was added in error, so you can skip that one. And 5304, we just made a change from 10 to 15 days that we can grant someone. It says leave to visit a spouse, child, or parent deployed for military duty out of the country who's been granted rest and recuperation leave shall be granted for no longer than 15 days. So that's a change from 10 to 15 days. And then finally, in that category of policy, we had the TSBA policy service, which if you know that TSBA provides us with model policies, we add our White County-isms or tweaks to those. And then, but they do a great job. They also audit our entire policy handbook. They look through that. They help with our procedure manual as well. They make suggestions throughout the year as the law changes. So all these laws that are being passed right now by our wonderful legislators they're going to provide in June. They're going to send me an update of all the policies that affects. And so it's well worth, in my opinion, the service they provide. And so this is the bill for that, to provide that for the upcoming school year.
Is that bill normal? Is that a normal cost for that, or is that increased over the years?
In my time, I think when I started, it was more like $4,500. It's been increased in the past 10 years to now $6,521. So obviously it's been increased, but as you have seen, there's been a lot of laws passed in education in that time, so more to do. I think that summarizes the policy portion, Mr. Chairman. That's correct.
So we approved it.
Yes, sir. We'll be doing budget talks at the end of this month, 1st of April. We've got those scheduled, and then this will be included in that budget proposal. That's correct.
next meeting?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, I think it'd be fine to wait for a second reading on those. And mainly, these came as a review as Ms. Rigsby's been reviewing the handbook and getting prepared for next year. We found some errors, or some adjustments that need to be made, so I don't think there's any reason why it couldn't wait for a second reading. Mr. Elliott, if you don't care, would you come to the podium? We want to test drive that microphone as well. If you just press it, and it'll help us for the recording. I think if you just press the button one time, you should be green. You're ready to go. Yeah, thank you.
Scared of these things. So the restrooms are about to be completed. We just like some concrete, some things like that, and so they've turned out real well. We've torn or had all of the brick removed off of Career Academy that could possibly have fallen. So in the process of getting bids for that to replace that with metal, and hopefully that goes really well. Other than that, it's been very quiet, and we've been able to get a lot of little things done. So it's a good thing. Most of our schools are in pretty good shape at this point. Any questions for me? That was quick.
So, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I just have one. So are we going to close the restrooms like at dusk or something? How are we going to try to keep down vandalism? Are we going to check them every day?
We are putting locks on the doors. How the high school decides to handle that would be up to the high school.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Mr. Elliott, good, just say, so included in our packet tonight, and this falls under the, under maintenance, is bid tabulation for, for doing the, assessment, facilities assessment.
Yes.
That we talked about, and so we have that, that was, RFQs were sent out and tabulated. And what I'm going to recommend board members that, and ask Mr. Drummer to pull this out. I think we should pull this out now and have it in our, as an old business item, just so that we have a chance to talk through this. But is, prior to us doing that, Mr. Allen, having reviewed these, are you satisfied with the way the points came out for the bidders?
Yeah, again, that was the company that we had picked originally. So it turned out the way that we were hoping that it would. Chad said that, with all of that RFQs being done, that we go now to the phase of whether we have to enter into a contract or if it's going to be a thumbs up, that type of stuff. I need to get back with the company and see what our next step is as far. If we have to enter in with a contract, I probably need to bring it back to y'all and let y'all handle that. And then if not, I'll let Mr. Drumbarger know exactly what that company is saying and go from there. But more than likely, I'd say it's going to be a contract.
I would probably say that probably that's going to fall out too. So basically, we pull this out and we have deliberation on this item tonight. Then next step would be put this in your hand, and then you can reach out and
Right.
see how do they want to engage with us as a board,
Right.
as a district.
Right.
Okay. All right. So board members, if you follow my logic here, if I pull this item out. Like this as our fourth item in old business. Anything else for Mr. Allen?
The whole project coming along?
Yeah, you know,
Ms. Johnson, and she said they were getting ready for flooring.
right. Yeah, they're doing the VCT tile flooring in that section, so, the last I heard, they had ordered it, so they're waiting on it to come in.
All right, Mr. Allen,
All right,
thank you.
thank you.
And please, thank your team too for all the hard work they're doing, making sure the facilities are well maintained.
Thank you.
So the following report is presented detailing the financial position of White County School System for the period ending February 28th, 2026. At the close of February, the cumulative revenues across all state school funds reached $31,045,839, while total expenditures and encumbrances amounted to $29,701,979. Consequently, the estimated overall fund balance has grown to $21,799,024. Compared to the initial July 1st starting balance, this upward trend highlights the positive impact of our peak property tax and local option sales tax collection seasons. Within the general purpose school fund, representing an increase of 1.16% from the same period of last year, expenditures and encumbrances also had an increase of 6.98%, but the expenditure increase continued to be driven largely by salaries and wages for regular instruction, as well as the necessary transportation capital outlays for equipment and buses, which is now utilized 100% of their annual budget. TISA funds are representing an increase over the previous year to the receipt of the high performance bonus in February. Yay us. Receipts are right in line with budget expectations at 72% of the annual projection. For the School Federal Projects Fund, revenues are 35.81% lower than the prior year, while expenditures are 5.5% lower, largely due to the shifts in the federal funding, the program funding and timing. Expenditures are currently outpacing revenues, which is typical of this fund because it operates on a reimbursement basis where the funds are requested after the obligations are met. Central Cafeteria Fund revenues show a decrease of 2.96% over the prior year, with significant improvement from the prior month's report is more in line with these expectations. Expenditures for this have also increased, but only by 1%, driven by the rising cost of food and supplies. Overall, the school system remains in stable financial position, with property tax collections reaching 94% of the budget. Revenues and expenditures are tracking consistently with historical mid-year trends and departmental expectations.
All right, thank you, Ms. Officer. Appreciate that summary. Mr. Markham, also appreciate you for compiling this data for us. So I think in short, we'd say that the monies that we expect to receive this year we're getting pretty close to having all those monies in. So we kind of know what our revenue numbers is looking like by now. So with everyone working within that number. Any questions for regarding our budget report? Okay, then moving on, we'll look at our, excuse me, back up here a second. Along with that, we have budget amendments. We got a few of those that we need to address this evening. So, Mr. Drombarger, I'd let you give you the opportunity to speak to our budget report, excuse me, our budget amendments.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 5 budget amendments before you this evening. The first of which is a federal fund budget amendment. It's a $90,000 grant. We received literacy grant, and we're partnering again with NIET. That's the National Institute for Education in Teaching, Excellence in Teaching. I'm sorry, and they'll be working with our 6th through 12th grade teachers in literacy. So that's an income of $90,000 and be credited to support services. Next is a federal funds project 142. It's a CTE Perkins grant. We're just moving money. We actually got an additional $3,566.35 from this grant. And then we shuffled some money to get it spent by the end of the year. So it's about a total of $4,600 that we're shuffling into instructional supplies and materials and in service, so it can be spent by the end of the school year. Next is federal funds, Project 142. This is the Access for All Learning Network, Subfund 897. There's an amount of $44,464.07. It's reallocated surplus funds, again, moving it to instructional supplies and materials so that we can get the money spent by the end of the school year. Also, spending money by the end of the year, this is Subfund 705, Federal Projects Fund. This is the McKinney-Vento, moving it from other salaries and wages and to credit medical insurance, supplies, and materials. Again, just clerical, moving this from one unused category to another where it can be utilized by the end of the school year. And then finally, this is McKinney-Vento, also Subfund 705, $4,000 that we're moving from medical insurance. This might be a clerical one. I think Ms. Jeannie mentioned that this was coded incorrectly, so just moving it to the correct line item. So it's a $4,000 credit to the correct medical insurance line, and you can see those account numbers there. And that is all the budget amendments for this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stromberg. So regarding these budget amendments, the first one that you mentioned for the literacy, the first one, 142, 954, that's the federal funds for of $90,000. Sorry, let me just pull this up where I can see it. So this is new money, correct?
Yes, this is new money. We received a grant that we're working with our middle and high school teachers, a literacy grant, and we were able to partner with different vendors across the state, and we chose to vendor with NIET, a partner that we have worked with quite a bit in the past.
What's the time limit of the spend of that money? Is that this year or 2 years?
Is it 2 years or 3? That's great.
That's fantastic. You're talking about $400,000 there, if my math's correct. That's fantastic. New monies to help with our students. One other question I had on Subfund 897. Did you say that was $40,000?
No, $4,464.
Okay, I just thought I heard $40,000. I just wanted to make sure that we're correct on that. All right, board members, any questions, comments regarding the budget amendments before us tonight?
Good job I appreciate you doing that. Big offset for our budget for the next several years.
I would echo that. Thank you, Mr. McDonald, for bringing that to attention. I know that Ms. Butcher, you get credit for this one. I know that there's a lot of people that are working hard on grant monies, and it just for the taxpayers to know that that is significantly helps our ability to provide quality education to the district. And so thank you. No, it's not easy, not an easy process. And I guess those are competitive grants too, correct? So, well, White County's not afraid of competition.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Smith.
while on the subject of budget, the funding that we'll receive from the awesome grades that we have, when will that come and how will we allocate that to this new money, correct?
Are you speaking about the outcomes funding that we talked about, the $607,000? Yeah, we haven't allocated that just yet. That'll go into I guess, go into fund balance and GP, and we'll decide that. I mean, we'll discuss that here and may come as a recommendation to the board at a later date about what we might be able to do with that money.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any other questions? Okay, then if not, then we'll move on to next item. Board members, you were given February 2026 personnel changes in our personnel report regarding new hires, terminations, and transfers. Along with that, you provided the data with applicants, interviews, and hires. Any question regarding the personnel reports? Okay, if not, move on to the next item, and that is our threat assessment report. Glad to see that there was only one item on the threat assessment report that was not considered a threat, and that item has been closed. So glad that don't have any more incidents on this report. And then that'll take us down to next item is TLN report. So Mr. Smith, guess you can take up the rest of the 33 minutes we have.
So we currently do that within the county. We allow out of zone. We have to post those seats, and so I can't imagine we would have a lot more seats open in regards to that. But I mean, it's in theory, yes, you could, if you would allow that. If they were allowed to come in from out of county, then they could get those open seats. But we didn't have a tremendous number of seats in our schools that were open. I would have to look at the numbers. They may still be posted from last year. But usually I think it's towards the end of May that we post that. It's basically the month of June that they have to acquire those seats, and then it's closed by July 1. We have that process in place. We don't have the numbers currently for what we have coming next year, but we have that process in place. We do. This really has to do with municipalities and folks that are wanting to walk to school, and they're not required when you live within 1.5 miles of the school to provide transportation, and this would force them to provide that transportation. So really shouldn't affect us any. I actually had a request to someone to walk from school or to and from school. We don't generally allow that because we don't have good sidewalk facilities or infrastructure at this time. So, that this is really addressing those municipalities like a Lebanon Special or Franklin Special that would have to provide transportation services that haven't in the past.
Mr. Young, could I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I wasn't really clear. Okay, so in May or whatever, they post open seats. Is that for, like, say you have a child that's zoned for Woodland Park and there was an open seat at Finley, they could try to get it? I wasn't sure how that worked. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions regarding our TLN report from Mr. Smith? Okay, then we'll move to the last item on our consent agenda. We have a field trip request from the White County High School, and that's TISA going to the state conference in Chattanooga in April, and it'll be over a weekend. It will be chaperoned. It has gone through the proper approval process through the sponsor, the principal, and signed by our director. So it coming to us for as recommended for approval. Any questions on that request for TISA?
I just want to make a point of clarification, Mr. Chairman. It's not TISA, TSA.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Mr. McDonald. I think it's the beautiful spring weather that has my. Yes, ladies, this is not the way to conduct a proper work session. Make sure you have your acronyms right. Any other questions regarding the field trip request? Okay, so if not, then we, just board members, just for clarity, the items that we covered in our workshop will be part of our consent agenda. The only changes we have is that policy, there is no change to policy 5116 that was in our folder in error. And so we had our minutes approval, our policy report, our maintenance report, and we will be adding the RFP. We'll be reviewing those in old business, so that will Mr. John Barger will add that to our electronic copy, and so we can approve that. That is correct, Mr. McDonald. Will you handle that task for me? Thank you. And then we'll see budget report, amendments, transfer of personnel. So that covers it. Is there anything else we need to take? Is there anything else, Mr. Drumbarger, that you want to touch on during this work session time?
I don't believe so.
Okay, just want to give you the opportunity. Any other board members, student representatives? No, y'all are prepared. Awesome, thank you. All righty. Hey, you have a lot of people in the audience that I'm sure they're counting on you. All right. Well, if nothing else, then we'll conclude our work session and we'll rejoin for our regular meeting at 6 o'clock.
Testing, testing. That's loud.
Check, check. Check, check, check. 1, 2. Are you seeing that now? Okay, are you seeing where it can show up? Okay, she's going to check it. Okay, I've got it set up and I've got it coming out. No, there was nothing dropping. I think it was not getting signal to begin with. So, hold on a second. Check, check, check. 1, 2. Okay, yeah, she said it's. Check, check, check. You're not on it anymore? Check, check, check. Test 1, 2. Okay. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Test 1, 2. Check, check, check. Testing 1, 2. Check.
But I think if they come through the speaker, there it is. There should be one more. Okay. So, anybody in the public want to just move? Or do we have
Yeah, it does. Yeah, well, yeah, whatever. They should be fine. All of them should. Yeah, because yeah, the problem is they were sitting on.
Uh-oh. What's that? Which one?
Because for us, that's not a big deal. But you go into bigger cities, metro cities.
I need to go back.
I wish it was things that
This is a 1-minute warning before the meeting starts.
All right, at this time, I'd like to call the March 19th meeting of the White County Board of Education to order. At this time, I'm going to let Miss Addison Dodgen, Senior, White County High School, member of our state runner-up, White County Warriorettes, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Dodgen, and appreciate you doing that. Also appreciate all of the guests here tonight. We appreciate your being a part of our meeting tonight. We've got it's going to be a good night. We've got a lot of recognition that we want to spread around, and so we appreciate you being here. Appreciate the fact we can celebrate White County and our education system. So with that, before we get into our meeting, and before we consider approving the agenda for tonight, I'd just like to make you aware that Tennessee statute and board policy 1400 state that every meeting of the board shall be open to the public except where law allows for a closed session. The agenda for the board meetings tonight are posted on the district's website at www.whitecoastschools.net, and the agendas are posted at least 3 days prior to each meeting. The Public Acts of 2023, Chapter 300 and Board Policy 1404 state that each board meeting shall include an agenda item reserved for public comment, as well as the conditions under which those wishing to comment will be recognized. A sign-up sheet is made available prior to the beginning of each regular meeting for those wishing to speak, and individuals who have signed up prior to the start of our regular meeting and who wish to speak during that portion of the agenda will be recognized in the order listed on the sign-up sheet at the designated time for public comment. Our board meetings are streamed with the help of our central office technology staff for live or recorded viewing. The links are provided on the district's website. Attending and/or speaking during tonight's meeting implies consent for the comments and appearances to be used. So before we consider tonight's agenda, board members, does anyone on the board have a conflict on any of the agenda items that are being considered tonight?
Mr. Chair, as I do each month, just no conflict of interest for me on the agenda tonight, but just to make everybody aware, my wife is an educator in the system, and the comments that you hear from me tonight are mine and mine alone, and for the betterment of the school district and the students and staff that you see before you.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald.
Mr. Chairman, I do not have a conflict, but my husband is employed by the district, so my thoughts are mine and mine alone.
All right, thank you, Ms. Officer.
Much like my colleagues, my wife is the bookkeeper at the high school. Nothing in the agenda causes a conflict of interest, and my comments and opinions are mine.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. So, Ms. Sims, please let the minutes reflect that Mr. McDonald, Ms. Officer, and Mr. Smith all indicated they have spouses that work within the district, but none of the items on tonight's agenda would constitute a conflict for them. So with that, board members, we'll move on to the next item, and that is approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Board members, just make you aware there is 2 items that have been added on new business that were not part of the original packet that was sent out. And I also think that there's a couple items in the consent agenda that we need to address. So coming out of our work session. So this time, I'd like to any changes to our agenda, we'd consider those at this time.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would make a motion we approve this, but with the understanding that policy 5116 was no update that was on our policy report. And also in our maintenance report, we had a RFQ that we need to pull out to have some discussion on to put down into the old business section. So that would be my stipulations to the motion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McDonald. So, board members have a motion on the floor to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting with 2 items, 1 item of clarity, and Mr. McDonald will address that then in the consent agenda when we consider that. But 1 item coming from the maintenance report of our work session that was it was a tabulation of the RFQ. For the tabulation of the RFQs for our facility assessments. That was covered in the maintenance report, and I think it was recommended, Mr. McDonald, correct me if this is wrong regarding your motion, but it was requested that we pull that out, add that as a item number D under old business.
That is correct.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve the agenda with that correction. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Fowler. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, the next item on our agenda is our consent agenda, and consent agenda items were covered during our work session that was held at 5 o'clock today on March 19th. Those items that were covered in the work session was a review of the board meeting minutes from February 12th, 2026, along with the minutes taken from our work session. We also had a policy report which included review and changes to policy 2802, 2803, 5110, and 5304, along with our TSP policy service renewal recommendation for that. As Mr. McDonald stated on our agenda, policy 5116 was included, but there was no action to be taken on that. It was included by mistake. We also had a maintenance report by Mr. Alley, and we discussed the tabulations for RFQ of facility assessments, which will be addressed in old business. Budget report was given by Ms. Officer, and the district is in financially sound position, along with budget amendments and transfers, which it was mentioned in budget amendments that we did receive new money from a federal grant, and I thank our central office staff for applying for that. That puts new money of total of $90,000 into our district for educational purposes. We had a personnel report, a threat assessment report, TLN report by Mr. Smith, and then the request for TSA to attend their annual conference in Chattanooga on April 9th through the 12th. So those are the items on our consent agenda. We already addressed the items from our maintenance report, adding that to our old business. So, board members, again, you have the opportunity to remove any items for further discussion, but that would consist of our consent agenda. So, board members, is there any items that you wish to remove for separate discussion? again, any items wish to move for separate discussion? Okay, if there's no objection, then the consent agenda will be adopted by unanimous vote as presented. That leads us on to the next item on our agenda. We have a special recognition tonight that we would like to make. As a lot of things going on in White County, but Saturday was a special day, and we are very fortunate as a school district and a community to have wonderful students that are willing to go out and represent our county and our school well. So tonight we want to recognize Coach Michael Dodgen and the 2025-2026 White County Warriorettes, and this year's runner-up in the TSSAA Girls State Basketball Tournament. And Coach Dodgen and ladies, we want to congratulate you on a successful season. And of all the teams across the state, you were among the last to have the privilege to play on Saturday, the last Saturday of the season. And it's a tremendous accomplishment. And your style of play is exciting to watch and something that opposing teams have a difficulty dealing with. And so at this time, I'd like to recognize Coach Dodgen to the microphone and give you the opportunity to speak about your team and this experience.
At this time, I'd like to thank the board for allowing us to come in today and to recognize our players and for their accomplishments this year. It's a good group of kids that have put a lot of time and work in and representing not only White County High School, but White County as a county. And as a coach, I'm proud of them for everything that they do, not only in the basketball floor, but our 6 seniors this year that are all going to the next level, whether to play or to go to school. All 6 of them are graduating with honors this year from the high school. So it's not only accomplishments on the basketball court, but also accomplishments in the classroom. And it takes a lot of time and effort to play basketball and also be a top-level student. And really proud of them and proud of our community and proud of the support that we had from our community this year. I know we played a lot of road games, but they felt like home games. And that says a lot about the community of White County and not only the people that are here, but also our faculty members at the high school supporting these kids every day and our administration supporting them every day. And really proud of them and proud of the achievements that they had.
Thank you, Coach Dodgen. I would give you the opportunity, if you'd like, if there was any young ladies that you would like to come up and speak on the team's behalf, they're more than welcome to come to the microphone. Listen, the microphone can't be any scarier than being on TV.
Well, we won't let Bella because it's a one-word answer. So, any of you guys want to come speak? Addison, you can come up. I know you're not shy.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say thank you for having us tonight. It's a really big honor to be here. And thank you to the community of Sparta who has always backed us at every single game. And my teammates, I love you all. And thank you.
Thank you. Board members, anybody like to share some comments? Mr. McDonald?
I do want to say something, and ladies, I want to tell you, I probably let you down this year. So, the last 4 years. So, I haven't been to many of your ball games, but I've watched every one of them on TV. I've watched every game that you've played, whether it be on Facebook, streamed by any media access across the state. Watched all your games that I could get or had updates. I just want to let you know I'm super proud of you guys. You're fun to watch. Like Chairman Young said, you're fun to watch. Your style of play was unreal. Lots of accomplishments in this room. Just the 2 that I can think of right off the top of my head is when Bella and Gracie scored their 1,500 point on the same game. That's pretty awesome. Lots of other accomplishments down the line, and I don't want to cut anybody short, but just the fact that you guys are going out on top as the winningest program for your 4 years in high school. What I think, 119 victories. Would have loved to have had that 120th, but you know what? After talking to Coach Dodgen Saturday night and this week, I feel confident that he said you left everything you had on the floor in the Murphy Center. And for me, being a White County alum, that's impressive. And to see the game you played on Friday, I was there for the game on Friday, and to see the heart and soul that everybody put into that game led me to know that our county and our school district and our country is in good hands with folks like you that will give everything you got for the cause that you're in at that time. So congratulations. It's not much from me, but it's congratulations and very well done.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Anybody else? Board members?
I'd like to say something.
Yes, Ms. Douglas.
I just wanted to say I was able to be at your games on Friday and Saturday, and the class that you exhibited, your attitude, it was amazing. I think it reached a lot of people because I had a big group from Cookeville behind me cheering you on, and so that made a big difference. You know that they were there for you. So thank you so much for your attitude and how you all exhibited. Very well done.
Thank you, Ms. Douglas. Mr. Stromberger?
You know, the wise philosopher Terry Crane once said that our goal is to win state championships, but our purpose is to raise good people. And I think we've done that. You know, we've done both of those things. You know, you all have won gold balls, silver balls. You've won trophies. You've got lots of accolades. But one of the first things that Coach Dodgen said to me after the game, we spoke briefly via text, was how proud of he was of you in the classroom and in the hallways, let alone what you do on the basketball court. As a director of schools, that gives me I'm kind of nerdy, but that gives me chills just to know that you know that we're turning out really good people. Not only excellent basketball players, but just quality people. And so I'm really most proud of that. Not just what you did on the basketball court, but what you did just in your daily lives. And it means a lot. I was at that time that you were playing basketball, I was with a bunch of smelly soccer players in Gatlinburg playing some games, but we were all huddled around our phones listening to the game, listening to every shot and cheering you on. So, and that says a lot to you all, about you all, that your peers in school are that vested in what's going on and your accomplishments, that they're listening every minute, even when they can't be there. So congratulations. Thanks for representing our school system well, and just thanks for being great people.
Thank you, Mr. Stromberger. Coach Dodgen, I appreciate the fact your assistant coaches are here as well. You want to give them the opportunity to speak? No?
You'd have to lower the mic, Daniel.
Well, listen, you know, you can't get to where you are without a good support staff, and it seems like you guys have a very cohesive team. So we have another guest here tonight that I'd like to recognize, Mr. Greg Wilson, principal of White County High School. Mr. Wilson, I'd like to give you the opportunity to come to the microphone and share a few words.
It's short. But thank you to the board and everything for all your support for our students, and thank Mr. Stromberger for his support as well. It's been hit on a little bit, but the point that I want to make about these young ladies is they're student athletes, and the student is the big part. I would put their GPAs up against any team across the state because they're great young ladies. They're wonderful representatives of our community and our school. And I'm proud of each and every one of them. And again, the community, the way they came out and supported us on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, it was great. But I'm just proud of them and everything they do every day in the hallways, in the school, and on the court. And again, thank you for all your support from the board and from Mr. Dronebarger for everything you do for us every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Appreciate that very, very much. I'm going to call a recess because what we would like to do is if ladies don't mind, like to come up and have a picture with the board and the players, coaches. Mr. Wilson, you can jump in. We can take a picture of that. This isn't for y'all. This is really for all of us up here on the board. Just say that we were there when that happened. So, Coach Dodgen, if you don't mind, we'll do that. I'll call recess and then we'll reconvene here shortly. So, ladies, before you out, Coach Dodgen, just 1 second. I'm going to call reconvene our meeting. Yeah, of course, you may have somebody else that wants to recognize you tonight. I just want to echo what's already been said. We want to thank you for representing White County well on and off the court and in the classroom, and just really appreciate you for what you do for our county. So, board members, what I'd like to do is entertain a motion to designate Friday, March 27th, 2026 as Warriorettes Day across the district, and encourage all students and staff to wear maroon and gray and blue jeans in honor of this team. So I entertain a motion. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McDonald. I have a second by Ms. Fowler. Any discussion? All right. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all very much. Like that. All right. And we're not done. We're not done about recognizing people in our district. Next item on our agenda is School Spotlight, and we're honored to have Miss Beth Peak, principal of Northfield Elementary, and she is going to recognize Artists of the Year awards for Northfield. So, Miss Peak, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us here. This year we decided that we would honor the students based on your criteria, but add both music and art to that. So I'm excited to recognize these. First, we have Emery Rakes. She is a second grader, and come on up here, Emery. Mr. Carr said that Emery has an amazing voice and always does a great job with any song that we sing. So, Emery, we are grateful that you take part and you are an artist at our school. We have up next Gemma Randolph. Gemma is also a second grader at Northfield, and Gemma loves to draw and is happy to learn and develop new techniques. She is helpful in the art room if anyone ever needs assistance. Gemma loves to draw, and we can't wait to see what she does in the future. Good job. Next, we have Sarah Gray, and I call Sarah Gray Sunshine. Sarah is a fourth grader, and she is a great singer and has such a great attitude in music class. And Mr. Carr just says that she is an A+ student. Congratulations, Sarah. And our last student is Brody Hitchcock. Brody is a fourth grader, and Ms. Heikkinen said that Brody is a pleasure to have in art class, that he listens and is open to suggestions regarding his drawings. He is helpful and always volunteers to help any way that he can. Congratulations. You want me to? And we have one more special award today, and it is Mr. Carr. Can you come on up here, Mr. Carr? We could not recognize people in our building for fine arts without recognizing Mr. Carr. His peers said that he is an amazing teacher. He brings music to life each and every day. He brings instruments into his classroom, and he allows the students to touch, play, and experience the sound they make firsthand. It will be amazing to see the number of students who further their love for music, all because of this man, Mr. Carr.
Thank you, Ms. Peak, and congratulations, students and Mr. Carr. We, again, I don't know if this has happened before, we're going to take a second recess. If there's any parents or family members that want to come up and take a picture with the students being recognized tonight, we'll take a recess and allow you to do that at this time. Congratulations to you, Ms. Peak. Thank you for joining us, all those that nominated these students. And you're welcome to stay with us for the rest of the meeting, but if you need to leave, we understand you can dismiss yourself at this time. No. All right, so this time we will reconvene our meeting. Next item on our agenda is a Memorandum of Understanding with Reach University. I'm asked Mr. Drombarger to speak to that, but memo was placed in your packet for review. It looks like this is something that will give an opportunity for us to benefit those working within our district for continued education. So, Mr. Drombarger, I'll let you recognize you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've participated in what they call grow your own opportunities, with an opportunity to try and raise teachers from within. And we've done that with some varied success. There have been some other programs that were not as just palatable to some of our working families for them to attain a college degree or a teaching degree. So Reach University has reached out to us. Several districts in Tennessee are using Reach, and long story short, it provides a very affordable and fast track to a bachelor's degree. It's not teacher certification, but it will give them a Bachelor of Liberal Arts, which will allow them to start teaching in what we call a job-embedded program. So they could start teaching for us at full salary, full teaching credentials, while they work on their credentialing or the certification through a master's program, such as maybe at Tennessee Tech. We've had many, many teachers that work for us, that are working for us right now, that have worked through that job-embedded process. But this would allow some of our educational assistants. What's unique about this program is that it gives them credit for the job they're doing each and every day. Our educational assistants work really, really hard. They do quite a bit of work in the schools with students. They do kind of the glue that holds everything together, and they get credit for that work through this program. And that flat rate of $75 a month is all that it costs. It's no cost to the district, even though there is an opportunity for the district to pay some of that cost if they chose to at some point. But we don't plan to do that initially. The cost would be on the candidates themselves. We just have to have an agreement with Reach in order for this to be an opportunity for our educational assistants. So as teachers are getting harder and harder to find, we're looking at creative ways of getting teachers in our classrooms, and what better people have in our classrooms than people that are already there, that are already White County citizens, that are already contributing to our school district. This is an affordable option. It's doable for working families, for working moms and dads that are in our school system working in these capacities. And so that's why I bring it before the board for approval this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Drumbarger. So, board members, we're being asked to consider entering into a memorandum of understanding with Reach University to allow those employed in our district who are not credentialed to work towards those credentials with no cost to the district. It's only something that would be a voluntary opportunity. They would participate on this on a voluntary basis, but it would be an opportunity for our staff to work towards a accredited teaching position. So one of the benefits that we could offer in our district as we try to make sure we maintain a good, healthy pipeline of teachers. So that's what's being considered here tonight. We're being asked to approve this memorandum of understanding as that was presented to us. So this time I would entertain a motion to approve the MOU.
I have a question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a certain amount, a certain number that has to participate in this program?
No, I'm not that I'm aware of. We just have to have the agreement before anyone can start through our district.
It's a good question because, again, clarify, it's totally volunteer if you want to participate.
Mr. Young,
Yes,
how
ma'am.
long does this program take?
It depends on what credits they may already have. If they already have an associate's degree, obviously shorter. If they already have several college credits that they can transfer, it depends. So it varies the number of months that it may take based on their experience.
And it would recognize credits that, say, somebody took at Tennessee Tech for a period of time.
Yes, it could. They go through an interview process, so they'll have just as any other college process, they'll have an advisor that'll look at all those things. So it's different for every candidate.
So I guess my question on that was the $75, is that for clerical fees for this organization to administer this program?
Yes, all that funding goes straight to Reach. That's what they charge for these folks to be a part of this program, which if you've looked at the cost of higher education these days, that is an extreme bargain.
That's right.
So yeah, that's their cost.
And I guess second thing is, and I heard you say this earlier about their time in the classroom, that's going to go towards part of their credits for reaching that higher degree.
Yes, that's part of the real attractive part of this program is that they're getting credit for the work experience that they're already doing. I think if you look at, I think it's up to 15 hours a week that they get college credit for. They're doing that work, And so they're getting credit for that. So a lot of the other programs we've been a part of is they did their work all day long and then had to come home and take online courses till midnight, you know, to get credit for that. So there's still coursework that has to happen outside of the school day, but they certainly get a lot of hands-on job experience credited for the job that they do already.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that we enter into this MOU with Reach University.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. So I have a motion on the floor for approval of the MOU with Reach University. Do I have a second? Second, Ms. Fowler. Any discussion?
One question. Once an employee reaches or attains the BA degree, do we know for certain that schools like Tech would take that and allow them to move into a master's program?
I don't know particularly about Tennessee Tech, but I know other schools in the state have, because there's several other districts that are already partnering with Reach and had success with this program. So it can be done, and certainly with online programs that can be done, you know, even with out-of-state groups that can give them Tennessee certification.
Very good, thank you.
I did have a comment about that.
Yes, ma'am.
And so it does say on their website, just the same as it does other places, that it's always up to the receiving school. So if someone is thinking about going on, they need to talk to that receiving school, because it is a possibility that they will not accept it. That's standard across the board. So, but my question was, this is mostly elementary level that we're talking about here? Okay.
Good questions. Any more discussion regarding the motion? Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is our student representative report. I'd like to recognize Ms. Callie Odell and Ms. Isabella Sackett for our report.
You missed one. You missed one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mark that off. Ladies, would you hold that for a second? Let's back up one. So, board members, in your packet was a proposed fiscal year 2027 pay scale for White County schools. In that information, it covered all of our staff as far as credentialed and non-credentialed employees, as long as their nutrition program. So those pay scales were presented to you. If you have any questions regarding those, you can ask our director, but these are being presented to us for consideration for approval. Would you like to speak to anything on that, Mr. Drumberger?
So, yes, Mr. Chairman. So these pay scales were really put together in framework in the last couple of years. But as we looked through bookkeeping and just through the auditing purposes, we just found some discrepancies, some things that weren't uniform. Essentially the steps were not uniform. And we've worked really hard to make sure that from year 20 to 21 to 22 that we equalize that step. So we saw a lot of variance in some of these scales that we didn't catch before. So we've gone back and just cleaned that up so that those steps are uniform. So everyone's salary according to these steps will still increase next year. We're planning to add in next year's budget $1,625 to all certified positions. That will get us to that base salary of $50 that we have to by the governor's decree next year. So we're adding that, as we have over the past several years, to all certified positions. So we just went to the top number in that scale and made sure that was a 2% raise in the staff positions all the way across. And then that 1625, we added it to each line and then made sure that each step was uniform. And so those uniform steps will be $720 for certified positions year in and year out. It's not that it's set in stone forever, but this has been the plan all along, was to get the salary scale intact, that we could use it, that it could function. And so we just noticed some of those step discrepancies that we wanted to clean up, and those are the changes that are presented to you this evening.
Okay, board members, any question for the information we have before us?
Quick question on the steps. Do those equate to years of service? And on, I guess, page 2 of it, maybe page 3, it only goes to 20 years, but.
So,
Yeah.
Yes and no. So we started on the steps, on the years. We started with that, but we're moving away from that. And the reason being was you have people come in that may be from a different county, maybe from a different system, or they have different experience, and you're able to look at a step and maybe even negotiate into that nowadays to say, well, we're gonna recognize experience in that particular area. We can say you had 3 years. You would just maybe be on 3 years, but you have vast experience. We might be able to get you to 4 or 5 as a negotiating tool to get some people in. So we're moving away, as most people have, from years to steps, and that's the same basis on our staff scale as well. So what? I'm sorry. Oh, and on the second part of your question, the 20 years, most of those are supervisor and principal roles. So normally you're in a teaching role of some sort. Before that, we usually don't have people that do 30 years as a principal, and that sort of thing. So normally those supervisory roles don't roll out as high. They're usually they're not in there that long. So that's not something we could look at rolling out, but that's why they're capped at 20, because the longevity is usually not there.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any other questions for Mr. Drombarger on what we're considering tonight on this item?
Just one more, sorry. The last page in that item, it only goes to step 20 as well. But I guess same concept, that's not a year's correlation, correct?
The last item in that certified?
The hourly
On
classified staff,
hourly
the last page in that packet of pay scale, it only goes to 20 years.
Oh, yes,
Excuse
it's
me,
our
20.
staff. Our staff page only goes to 20, yes.
Same
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah, same concept, yeah. Yeah, it's conceivable that we would have people that have stayed longer than that, and that's usually not the case, but that's normally not our case, that we have people in that role for that long.
So, Mr. Drombarger, just for clarity, the basis of this, of the pay scale, the steps, that's something that we've considered and has been in place for a period of time now. And what we're doing is going in and looking at that and making corrections in some areas where the formulas from year to year were not, were out of proportion, if you would, from say year 3 to year 5. You wouldn't expect for the increase to jump from 2% a year to 8%. So it gives opportunity to filter that. Nobody's getting penalized for on this scale, but this is what will go in effect going forward to balance that out. But it reflects that our compliance with the mandate for base pay for teachers starting out in our district.
Yes, that's exactly right. For example, I think in the certified scale, there were step raises of, you would get, say, $350 for 2 or 3 years in a row, and then you would get $1,000, and then the next year it would be $650. And it was just things like that we found that were kind of all over the place. And it did make sense that, if somebody was getting maybe $1,000 raise in year 4, and then a year 10 teacher was getting $350 that year. There wasn't any uniformity to that. So, and shame on me for not catching that when we first proposed this and put that out. But really, that's what we've gone out and fixed, was some of that jumping around amongst those scales, and made it uniform across the board. So it's something you can follow, it's something you can expect, and something that's easy for us to change moving forward if the board, chose to give raises, or, if we had an extra $1 million floating in here that we wanted to add to the pay scales. It makes it very easy to add it uniform across the board, and it makes sense, and it's fair across the board to all of our employees.
All right, thank you. So, board members, that's the pay scale for a district that go in effect for our fiscal year 2027. Any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval for the fiscal year 2027 pay scale for White County Schools as presented.
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Douglas. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we get to move on to our student representative report. Sorry about that, ladies. Ms. Odell, Ms. Sackett, floor is yours.
Thank you. This week has been full of exciting opportunities and accomplishments for all of our students. Our seniors have been busy preparing for their futures and approaching graduation very quickly, participating in FAFSA celebrations from our Ayers Foundation and continuing to plan for upcoming trips, including our highly anticipated senior visit to Dollywood.
Spring sports are officially underway, and there's a lot of excitement across our campus. Soccer has kicked off their season, and we're also seeing great energy from baseball, softball, and our track teams as they begin competing. We look forward to supporting all of our athletes as they represent our school with pride.
We would also like to again recognize our girls basketball team for their incredible season. Their hard work, dedication, and teamwork led them all the way to the state championship round, and we are so proud of everything they accomplished and the way they represented our school at such a high level.
Warrior Media recently traveled to Lipscomb University, where they were recognized at the THSBA Awards banquet for their outstanding work, bringing home a first place, second place, and third place award. Isabella Carmichael earned a first place award, Isabella Sackett and William Walker received a second place award, and Carter Rich earned a third place award for their media projects. We are incredibly proud of their creativity and success.
In addition, our FFA members are preparing to leave for state convention. This is an exciting opportunity for students. Students are receiving 17 state degrees, 5 Middle Tennessee proficiency winners competing at 3 agri-science fair projects and many competitions. And I would be doing her a dishonor if I didn't mention my friend Addie King, who is running for state office. That's a really big and very challenging endeavor, and I sat on the other side and watched the candidates from last year, and you couldn't pay me to do that. It's a grueling process, and so we are definitely wishing her luck and hoping that she is elected as the next Tennessee FFA state officer.
Clubs across campus continue to stay active, and I'm proud to say, as the vice president, that Beta Club has been taking on lots of service projects and bouncing back and forth from number 2 and number 3 in the entire state for the most community service hours. Club days provide great opportunities for students to connect, grow, and to be involved in community within the school.
And overall, we are excited to be back from spring break and happy to have a minute to highlight all the good going on in White County schools.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate that report and that update. Board members, any questions, comments for our student representatives? Okay, if not, tell everyone that's...
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Is there any way that we can go back to number 9, agenda item number 9? I just had a text that someone asked if I could ask the question. If it isn't years, how does one move up in steps?
So
I don't know. Is this
that would be a question that I would ask the director to have to speak to, because that would be a procedural thing. And I'm not sure if you want to address that here or if you want to address that.
No, that's fine.
Case.
No, it'll still be credited as years, as far years of service to move to that next step. And that's how we base that. Really, that's based on of a TCRS as far as they're credited for year services for teachers. So they have to accrue, I think, 10 months to get a full year's credit. So I'm just saying we can use that as a bargaining tool to if someone's coming in. I'm not saying that we will, but it just gives us the option to say you don't have to be 6 years. You could be at year 7. It just gives us that option. But they're still going to be credited the same way. So if they're on year 6 right now, they'll be on step 7 next year.
Okay, thank you, and I'm sorry I had to back up to that.
Oh,
Thank you.
That's all right. Let's go back to item that's on the table, our student representative report. Any other questions, comments for our students representatives? Okay. If not, then we'll go next agenda item, and that's district update. Mr. Stromberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Personnel reports in your packet. We are interviewing talented teachers this week. We started interviewing folks this week, and earlier this week. We had some in here today, so excited about that. We used Stockbelt snow days on Monday and Tuesday to extend our spring break. Not a single thank you. We still, sorry, did I say that out loud? We still have days in reserve, and we can utilize virtual days if needed. Hopefully, all the snow is behind us, but there are still certainly inclement weather days possible, and so thankful to be in a good place as far as our stockpile snow days are concerned. Financially, I'll be conducting budget meetings with my supervisors and principals on March 30th and April 1st, with principals as well, in preparation for the fiscal year 27 budget. The main focus of these meetings are personnel changes, building and maintenance needs, and furniture requests. Board members, if you'd like to be a part of that, just let me know. Of course, we'll be discussing those in earnest as a school board. You'll be discussing those later in April. Athletics, again, congratulations to Coach Dodgen and the Warriorette basketball team for the runner-up finish in the Tennessee State Basketball Championships. Our district's proud of their efforts on and off the court. Spring sports seasons have begun and are full swing, and we had a successful soccer weekend in Gatlinburg over the break, so excited about athletics in our district. Building projects, we continue to work closely with our insurance company and contractors to address the brick issues at the Career Academy at White County High School. The entire brick wall has been removed, and we're negotiating with contractors to reconstruct the wall. The insurance company will cover the cost of the roof repair. And at Doyle Elementary School, the project has slowed recently. A delay in materials has caused a little slow progress as of late. Academically, ACT is scheduled for high school juniors next week, and the first round of TCAP tests will be here in about 3 weeks, so it's coming fast. I got a note today from Mr. Ward at the high school. We now have 911 simulators in our criminal justice department. Students can play the part of a 911 dispatcher in a computer-based lifelike scenario as part of their training, so pretty neat addition. Lots of great things happening in White County schools, but I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stromberger. Board members have any questions, comments over on our district update? Okay, thank you, Mr. Stromberger, for covering that. So next item on our agenda is public comment per Board Policy 1404. We always allow an agenda item set aside for public comment. Sign-up sheet was provided prior to our meeting, and tonight we do not have anybody wishing to be recognized for public comment. So with that, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, and that's new business. Board members, added to the agenda was request for a fundraiser swap for Bondi Croft, swapping from a cookie dough sale to a spring flower sale. And then the White County Beta Club has a field trip request to the National Convention in Nashville, June 16th through 20th. That's an overnight trip that we would have to approve, and they want to do that so they can go on to get their rooms reserved. So those are our new business items. So we'll take the first one, the Bondi Croft fundraiser swap request. This does replace a fundraiser that was already approved by this board. So entertain a motion to approve the swap.
Mr. Chair, just a quick question. Can we group those together and do them all under one motion, or do we?
Let's do them separate because one's fundraiser and one's out overnight.
I'll make a motion to approve item number A for Bondi Croft.
A motion to approve the Bondi Croft fundraiser swap. Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Douglas. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is the Beta Club field trip request, as mentioned. Board members, so I would entertain a motion to approve that field trip.
I'll make that one as well.
Mr. McDonald makes a motion. Have a second by Ms. Stone. Any discussion? Ms. Odell, are you going on that trip?
I am not sure if I'm going yet because I may have a Young Life work cruise, so I may be in Missouri. But if I'm not, I will be going.
Okay. Well, you'll have to abstain. Oh, you'll have to abstain. That'd be a conflict of interest for you.
Okay.
All right. If no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is old business. We have 4 old business items to consider tonight. The first is snow day pay for staff. This was a request by. This was a request that was put on there a few months ago, that we consider what we do now that we're at the point where we kind of understand where we are as far as snow day snow days used and how much time our non-certified employees were missing for because of snow. So this item's on the agenda for discussion. So if anybody would like to start.
I guess I'll start. I'd like, Mr. D, can you just give us another rundown just so we can get up to speed on where we are snow day wise, how many we have to start the year, how many we've used, the process that was changed with adding 15 minutes to each day for them to build up time, and to kind of explain that so we understand what's going on.
So students put in time each year that equates about 13. It equates to 13 days of school each year that can be used for stockpiled snow days or for teacher in service, where students would stay at home. So we had all 13 at our disposal this year. We have about 4 left at this point. And then we have virtual days we can use as well. And that time, I don't want to belabor this point, but that time comes from state law says that they have to be in school for 6.5 hours each day. We go for 7. So from 2:30 to 3, I hate to break it, spoiler alert, students, but that you don't have to be there. But by adding that 30 minutes every day, it equals 13 days of school. So that's where those 13 days come from. So I just want to make that clear. Students earn that time. Employees did not. Okay, so employees are paid whether we came to school that day or not. So I'm a teacher, but teachers don't earn snow days. Students did, but nevertheless. So that's where that 13 comes from, and we have several left at this point. So the question tonight, and I don't have anything for you in your folder tonight, but I want to break this down for you, and I'll do it as quickly as possible. We have employees, notably educational assistants, who don't have the opportunity to work when it snows. Our custodians still have the opportunity to come in and work. Our maintenance still have an obligation to come in and work. So the problem has been that we don't pay our educational assistants because they don't have the opportunity to work. So in talking with Ms. Rigsby in HR, we discussed a situation, and I think we've come up with an idea that I think is palatable in that we could recognize we talked about workman's comp. So if our employees, if our aides were out of work for 10 consecutive days, they could file for workman's comp, and they would get it. Now there would be a 5-day waiting period, which they probably would not get. But they're getting double jeopardy in the fact that not only are they not being able to work when it snows, but then they also can't claim workman's comp because it doesn't happen consecutively. It happens intermittently. So that made me think, well, what if we came up with something that we called for this group of people alone, that they had a special benefit, an inclement weather benefit. The first 5 days would not be paid because they wouldn't get those with workman's comp. But the following days, whether it's 5, 6, 7, or up to 8 days, we could pay them what they would have received in their workman's comp benefit, which we said was about $65 a day. And that way we could recognize them or not double penalize them for it snowing, but also not disrespect the people that are having to come in and work on those days that it does snow. So that's where I am as a proposal. I just can't get to the point where I'm paying people to stay home when I have to pay other people that have to come in and work.
Mr. D, just for clarity, Ms. Rigsby, I'll call you. We're talking about short-term disability. We're not talking about workman's comp.
Unemployment. Yeah. Unemployment benefit.
All right, so not workers' comp, not short-term disability. We're talking about unemployment benefit.
Yeah, unemployment. Yeah, if I'd say workers' comp. Yeah,
so you're basing this concept on state law of how that would work. Okay, so that's unique and out-of-the-box thinking.
Well, we felt like if we had 13 snow days in a row, they would be eligible for 8 of those days. The first 5 would be the waiting period, which they wouldn't get credit for, and then they would get paid those 8 days. So what I'm asking the board to consider is that, okay, those first 5 days, that's a waiting period, they don't get it, but anything above that, so at this point we would owe them 3 days of time. So and then we could pay that at the end. So they wouldn't take such a hit, because without this, that group of people are going to miss, an entire paycheck or more if we leave it as it is right now.
Okay, my question is the 15 minutes that's been added to their days, over the year, over the school year, they're making up 5 days.
It's
Almost
almost
six,
6.
okay.
So we've accounted for that. That's where we've accounted for that waiting week that they would have in workman's, not workman's comp, in unemployment, excuse me. Yeah, that waiting week. So we've accounted for that in that 15 minutes. So we needed them to work before that time anyway. So they're already being paid for that. But so in a way, we've accounted for that time there. So what we haven't accounted for is anything additional. But at this point, if we're out 8 days, they're going to get docked right now for 8 days. But if right now, they would at least get paid for those 3 above the 5 waiting.
Okay.
This is budgeted money as well. It's money that we've budgeted for every one of these employees to work 200 days. So it's money that's there. It's just money we wouldn't save if we paid it all out.
And I mean, I'm gonna speak for myself. I don't think it's our intention to budget money and then hope that we save it on the backs of our employees. That's not the intent. It is, common practice that we pay for services performed, AKA work, and it's hard to pay not for people when they don't work, and especially the point when you say other people's are having to work, but we're talking about here's the opportunity, they don't have the opportunity to work. So I like this train of thought, and it's a way that we could alleviate that issue and support our aides. Now, I guess the question I would have, and board members, this is the first time I've heard of that, so I'd probably want to see something a little bit more in detail that I think we would, as a board, would have to approve. So I don't think there's nothing that would compel me to take any action on that, what you just shared with us tonight. However, board, we could approve the fact that they pursue this and bring something back to us in the next meeting. So if any motions coming up, it would be along that line, but I don't think we have enough information. I think it's conceptually makes sense, but we would need to wait before we took action.
Would we need a motion on the floor for them to pursue that, or is that something that we can direct our director to do with the HR department?
I think we could. I don't think we have to take a motion on it per se, unless the board wanted to. But I think we could, if there was agreement that said we would want to see this to take action on it next month.
I personally would like to see some information, some hard numbers in our packet next month, so that we can make an informed decision. I mean, I'm with you, Mr. Young, that this is new information that I don't think we can make a decision on tonight without having some hard numbers in front of us to see what the cost is for our school district.
Okay, I appreciate that, Mr. McDonald. So I think board members would like to do, and this may be just formality, but I'd like to entertain a motion that our director and HR department come back with a proposal for us to address these snow days for our hourly employees next month. So that way we can see this plan and potentially take action on that. So I'd entertain a motion for that direction.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Smith. Do you have a second?
Can I ask one question real quick?
Second by Miss Fowler. Questions?
Is
Ms.
the
Douglas.
cafeteria staff included in this as well?
They're not. We talked about that. I think, Ms. Savage, that's a separate budget, so they weren't in this discussion, but she felt like that she could handle that from her standpoint as well. Is that correct?
So,
Mr. Young, would
yes,
that
ma'am.
include the nurses also? Or are they on the teachers?
Are they on that scale? It would include them then, yeah.
so
Yeah, there's a few ancillary positions like that that fall outside of that we would have to look at, but that's something that we can definitely have in the packet for you to list out who those people are.
And if I'm not mistaken, bus drivers are being paid for every day, every snow day, no matter what, whether we go to school or not.
Yes, yes, and that's a good point, Mr. McDonald, that's one of those job-specific incentives that they have. It's a hiring incentive in order to get and keep bus drivers, that's one of those things. So this is not, I say that because that's not unique that we would come up with a specific incentive for this group of people to address a particular need.
and they get no other benefits like vacation or anything like that. So that was one of the few benefits they would get. So let's get back to the order of business on hand. So we're considering, the motion was directing motion was to request our director and HR to bring back a proposal for their recommendation for addressing the hourly wage staff and loss of days due to snow, and then we can consider that next meeting. So have a motion for that direction. Have a second. Any other discussion?
One question. What if we have 14 days of snow? We only have 13 built in, right? So we would be at a place where they wouldn't be paid for that 14th day.
We would have to make that up, wouldn't we?
Well, we wouldn't have to make that up. It's likely we would use virtual days at that point. And again, we're paid, we have the money budgeted for every one of those school days. So it's not money that would go in the hole for us, just money that you wouldn't have paid out. You know, before I became director of schools, I said, if I ever get over there, we're just going to pay aides for snow days. And then I got over here and looked at it, and it's just not that simple. As much as my heart wants to do that, I have custodians that have to show up to earn their money that day, and I have maintenance workers that have to come in and work that day, and I just can't have people staying home getting paid when other people have to come in to earn that paycheck. So I feel like this is a way to kind of compromise and meet in the middle. It's not even a full paycheck, but it's going to get them something that we're not just docking them and saying that, hey, we're penalizing you and keeping your money because it snowed. And so we're just trying to find a way to give them some incentive to show them when we value them, that we care about them, and but do it in a way that doesn't budget more money than we already are planning to spend.
Okay, so good questions, discussions. Right now, we're on the motion to have them bring us back a proposal for our April meeting. So motion and second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is memorandum of understanding between White County School District and the White County Sheriff's Department. And so this is old business item. Mr. Drombarger, you want to give us some update on that?
Yes, basically this is the MOU I shared with you a few months ago. Really the only sticking point with Sheriff's Department is they want 2 years to vacate the premises should the school board want it back. Their plan is to invest money and time and sweat equity into the facility to make it usable for their purposes, and they just want the opportunity to have the time to change and adjust and get to get out should the school board need it for a school building later on. If there was going to be a school building, there would be considerable time involved. You know, I've never really heard of an MOU that had a 2-year exit clause. But at the same time, if we decided today that we were going to move back into that building, it would take considerable amount of time. There would be a whole RFP or RFQ process. We would have to go through architects and engineers, and so there would be a year of planning and preparation involved anyway. So, you know, 2 years is still a lot in my mind, but it's not out of the question that it would take us that long to get mobilized and start working on a project of that scale. But anyway, that's the main point that the Sheriff's Department had, and that's the really only change that to bring forward to you tonight.
With that being said, Mr. D, I just don't know that I could vote for a 2-year exit clause from the Sheriff's Department. I think you know, I've been in that community several times lately, and it's growing, and there may be a time that we're gonna have to have that facility. And even if it does come into fruition that we have to have that, I mean, it may not take us 2 years to get through that, but then we're gonna be 2 years behind on everything as far as getting out of the, you know, the sheriff's department getting out of there. So I'm with you. I don't understand why they want 2 years to be able to get out. Looks like to me they could load everything up that they've got in there in probably 2 hours and get out. To, you know, I just don't know that I can go with a 2-year exit clause.
I agree with Mr. McDonald. Is there a way to meet in the middle and do a year?
I agree with Mr. McDonald. I think that we had said 90 days, and I would think if we went to 6 months, that would be ample enough time in 6 months that they should be able to move what equipment they've moved in. And I think 6 months is a much more doable number.
Any other questions, comments? I can appreciate what they're requesting, because if they do, for example, they spend 5 years down there and create a nice training facility for them that they've invested in to conduct their business, their training, and then all of a sudden come up and say that, hey, you know, 90 days, we want you out. Well, I understand the challenges that having to relocate bring, and it's not something that a 90-day exit could be done. I think if you read through the terminations, termination may be determined by mutual written consent by both parties at any time, so we're not locked in. But then it goes back to the serviceability and reclamation clause. We're bound by the reclamation clause. The Sheriff's Department can terminate the MOU by providing us 90-day written notice, which that doesn't affect because if they're in the facility, I mean, we're providing them at no cost. So we're not, this is not a cost to us. So I don't see a problem with the 90-day written notice of us, you know, for the Sheriff's Department to provide us 90 days written notice. But I do appreciate the fact of what they're saying, that they need time. And if we allowed them to use that and they took the facility as their own and they continued to build it out in a way, that would be hard to replace. That would be hard to replace in a year. Just as we talk about building a new school would be, you know, it just doesn't happen that quick.
Mr. Chairman, I want to back up and maybe say something that I hope somebody didn't know, and nobody that's watching, and maybe nobody that's friends of the Sheriff's Department. I want to make sure that I state that I'm for our Sheriff's Department. I want them to be the best trained, because we all here are going to have their services at some point in our life, and I want them to be at their best when they're doing that. I'm not against them using this facility, but I just think that the 2 years on my part is a little much. I can agree with what you were saying there as far as finding another place for them to go. That would be tough, but I want to make sure that it's stated on record that I'm not against our Sheriff's Department. I want to make sure that they are the best trained, and if that's the best facility for them to do that in, I can get behind that. I just think the exit clause of 2 years is just way too much.
And Mr. Young, I also want to say that I live in the area, and I welcome the Sheriff's Department to be in that area, and I think it's great that they can use it instead of it sitting empty. But the way the housing is going up in our area, at some point, if we remodel that back area that's old and built onto the new part of the school, it could be reestablished as a fine school, And hopefully at that point, maybe the sheriff's office could find another facility closer to town that they could get behind. But I'm thinking that right now, we're not charging them anything, and if they spend money on it, and if they get the benefit of it, and we give them 6 months to vacate, in 6 months, they could probably find another facility. And I could be behind 6 months, but I could not be behind 2 years.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, a second.
So if you guys decided to meet in the middle at a year, and Mr. D, you talked about some of the things that the board would have to do to reestablish that as a school could take up to a year, could we not start doing and taking action during the year of time that it would take them to move out?
Yes, and in that situation, we probably would. Yeah, that's exactly. That's what I'm not speaking for the sheriff's department. I'm just presenting what they shared with me. I don't think Sergeant Parmalee wants to speak for the sheriff's department tonight on this subject. I don't think he's been involved in those situations, but I appreciate you being here. So I'm just relaying what they presented to me. But yeah, absolutely, yes, absolutely, we could do that, and we would do that in that case. So even though we hadn't acquired the building back, we would already start the process of finding architects and engineers and doing that work ahead of time. So yeah, that seems like a more reasonable timeline for me.
So if we put this on us, what would indicate that we would need to open the school back up? I guess I'm thinking of when we built Northfield, and that was before my time on the board. How long before we opened Northfield did we know we needed to build a new school, and the level of planning that went through? Did it take 2 years?
Yeah, it's usually at least a 2-year process. I mean, the whole planning, the process of getting RFPs and RFQs and, getting your architects and getting your drawings and those things. I mean, you'll spend a year prepping that before they ever touch the ground. And then it's always longer in construction than you think it's going to be. So, we're at Doyle. We did a very simple project, but it'll be pushing a full year. And by the time that's done, and
so this is less about the sheriff's department, more about us.
Yes, and I think we would know at that point. I mean, we'd have time to see growth trends and things like that. But I think we're set up for that right now. I mean, as we said, our enrollment is down. In my tenure, it's down close to 500 students, and so we would have to see a swell beyond that. And in certain areas, it's not that it grows systematically. It can grow in one particular area. We could need it there, but we have just added to Doyle, and we had added to Cassville recently, and we took some students away from Woodland Park and moved them to Findlay. So we've addressed the issues that school was helping at one time, and so I can't see that that's going to be a quick need. I don't know that we're going to rebound quickly for that need, but we would see that coming, and I think we could plan for it.
Mr. Chairman, I do want to say that our area of students in the Central View area has a high number of homeschooling because it is so far away from the other schools. And that has maybe affected the number as well as the homeschooling and other things. But in our area, I'm thinking that it wouldn't be like building a whole new facility like Northfield. It would be more like the Doyle project because half the school is new. And it would just be like building on the part of the school that was old after taking that down. And I'm thinking that we're not looking to apples. I'm thinking we need to be looking at it more like from the Doyle point of view. Thank you.
So I appreciate that. Let's get back to the business on the table, and that is this memo of understanding. And appreciate the comments about. I think the question is, at what point would we initiate a reclamation clause? And I think the time that you exercise that would be at a time where you started discussion before you ever went out to hire an architect. I think if you were going to study that, you should give them notice. If, for example, that you got into it, 6 months or a year, and you said no, we're not going forward. Well, it doesn't mean that they you couldn't come back and revisit that with the sheriff's department at that time. But just, I look at it from a standpoint, just out of respect. If they go down there and they invest money and set up a 3D training range for pistol training, that could get into a situation where they put some resources into that, and then having to find another location suitable for that in today's climate might be a little bit tough. And so for me, the 2 years is not unreasonable, just understanding the timeline of what it would take for us to move in, what would trigger us to move into exercising that clause.
Mr. Young, there's also, looking at it, we're providing this facility for them for free for this period of time. That's money they're saving on getting another building and having to purchase it and all that. So I think they ought to show the school district the respect of allowing the 6 months, considering they're getting this facility for free just for the use of it until they can do a few renovations.
It could also.
Valid point. Ms. Sackett.
I think it could also just be a good idea to show them respect and them show us respect, to meet in the middle, give them that year of time to find somewhere else, but also give us that year to start planning and to start doing the things that we need to do. And I think that would probably make both sides pretty happy. That's just student standpoint. I don't get to vote or anything.
No, that's it. That makes a lot of sense. So, all right. So, what we could do, board members, we could table this and ask Mr. Drumbarger to go back and have some, based on our discussion, looking at this document, ask him to go back and meet with Sheriff Page, and we could talk this through and see if we could change the language on the reclamation clause. That would be an option. Otherwise, what's in front of us is we're either going to approve, we're going to vote to approve, or this MOU, or it's going to fail.
I would move that we table this until we can get some, take this discussion, Mr. Deacon, take this discussion back to the sheriff and work on getting closer to where I think we can all agree on it.
Okay, I have a motion to table. Do I have a second? Second. Ms. Stone, any further discussion? Mr. Drumbarger, are you clear on what we're asking you to do?
I somewhat. Am I going back and asking them to switch it to a year or 6 months, or what is the board's prerogative?
So let's amend the motion and well, you'd have to take your motion to table off. You'd have to withdraw your motion to table. Your motion table means that it's going back.
Well, I would rescind my motion so that we can set a timeline on this.
Okay. Ms. Stone, are you in agreement to rescind? All right, so Mr. McDonald's motion to table has been rescinded. So now we need a motion on the table to go back to come. We need a motion on the floor to what timeline on this agreement we would agree to for our director to go back and negotiate with the sheriff's department.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept the MOU as is with the 2 years. I'm convinced, based on Mr. Markham's head nodding, I'll say, and just the timeline it would take for the board and for Mr. Drumbarger and his team to research and to know we need to either open the school up or renovate the school. It's going to take 2 years, I think, to do that. So I have no issue with the MOU as it stands.
All right, I have a motion on the table to approve the MOU as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Officer. Any discussion on the on the motion? Okay, all in favor of approval approving the MOU for with the White County Sheriff's Department for Central View Properties signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
get a roll call, please, because I'm not sure who voted no. Roll call vote, Ms. Sims?
Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Douglas,
No.
Mr. McDonald,
No.
Ms. Fowler,
Yes.
Ms. Stone, Ms. Officer,
Yes.
and
Mr. Young.
Mr. Young.
I would vote yes.
Three yeses. Smith, yes. Douglas, no. McDonald, no. Fowler, no. Stone, what was her?
Fowler was yes. Fowler was yes.
Oh, yes, okay, I'm sorry. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 to 3.
Okay, so motion passes 4-3. So we adopt this MOU for the Sheriff's Department. All right. Moving on, the next item is, board members, I am going to recommend that on discussion with our county executive, Robinson, that we deed the properties at Bondycroft, Central View, and Cassville that is holding our volunteer fire departments, that we deed those portions back to the county. That would give the county control over those facilities, and they could negotiate with volunteer fire departments to do whatever renovations, improvements that they need to do over the course of the time, and it provides clarity and delineation as far as who's responsible for those properties, because we do not have that now, and the education department is not in the business of being landlords for other entities. So I'm proposing that we consider deeding those properties that those facilities are over to the county. So that's what that item's about. So ask questions, and we can have a little discussion on that.
I don't necessarily, go ahead, Tracy, go ahead.
Well, I just got a question, because at Bondycroft, when we had the papers, so what from the school was on their property, and they had septic on theirs?
Yeah, there would be, I guess, from the board standpoint, if similar to this, the snow day pay, you're going to need something before you to vote on. We're going to have to look at how much land, and how much does that encompass? Where are the septic lines? We're going to have to draw up some. There's going to be considerable, a little bit of surveying land work that needs to be done to determine where the utilities are and that sort of thing. I'm hoping not to give up, more than we need to, but we're going to have to, all three of those properties are very different, so we're going to have to determine what those are and what that entails. So I guess tonight would be, if that's the board's prerogative, then I get the blessing from the board to pursue that and work with the surveyors to come up with something that I can bring before you that would show where the lines are and where the utilities are.
That would be my expectation coming from this. I think from the action that as board we need to consider is whether we want to continue to house those entities on our property, which limits them and does not define clearly who's responsible for what. By deeding this back to the county, it would, because the county is more responsible for volunteer and have the ability to support the volunteer fire departments more than we do as a district. So what that would include would be, as Mr. Drombarger said, going and drafting up a plat that would address all the utilities there, because there probably would have to be some easements in the deed going both ways, but try to work that out, so when we come back, that property could then be go to the county and they could service them better than us. But we would need to take action if we wanted to move in that direction. So that's what I'm proposing tonight. Other questions?
I do have a question, Mr. Markham, this may be for you. Would this fix the problem that Bondycroft had as far as getting grants, being able to apply for those grants? Would that fix their need as far as being able to be an entity separate from the schools with the property still there? I mean, would this work for them, or I mean, I hate that we're going to be giving up property as a school district. I don't like that fact, but I also like the fact that we have 3 volunteer fire departments that are on our properties that, in a time of an emergency, we have them there, and they're very, very accessible. So I guess my question is within doing this, does that fix the problem that they have with not being able to get funds to upgrade their facilities?
It's a good question, Mr. McDonald. Just to be quite honest, I'm not 100% sure what the issue was. I never got full clarification on that from the grant or even the exact grant that they were looking at for that. But I can tell you that in most cases, this would, in fact, clean it up significantly, because the county is ultimately responsible for those entities if they do cease to exist as an entity. And it would be, in my opinion, quite different for the county government to own the property versus from the school board stance versus a nonprofit organization. So I think you're kind of looking at a completely different scenario of transferring the property there if you do decide to do this. But as far as whether that fixes the problem or not, I can't really speak to that.
I guess in the ultimate, we are all one entity anyway, because the school system falls under the county, but except for our budgeting process. So I mean, we're all members of the county, I guess would be, and just the transfer of land from the school system, the White County Board of Education, to the White County government would be the big thing that's going on here, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Board members, I have had a conversation with County Executive Robinson, and one thing that he expressed is he has a desire to really establish a county-wide fire department. But when these fire departments are not on land that's owned by the county, he can't do that. And so this would allow him to do some things that he's not able to do at this point for the whole system in that regard. I too don't like the idea of giving up land, so to speak, but I like the idea of giving it to our county more than I like giving it to a private organization or a 501c3 that might do any number of things with it. So I feel like it's still staying in our house and staying on this side of the line where we could work with our colleagues at the county government. But it just cleans it up. And from my understanding and talking with the county executive, it makes it an opportunity for them to have a county-wide fire department that they can support holistically moving forward.
So if I could just comment on this, I appreciate not giving up land, but the thing about it is the land's not doing us, the district, any good now anyway. We're not using it. And I mean, what are we going to do? Expand something and ask them to pick up and go somewhere else? We're probably not going to do that. So to your point, it still stays within the county. And if we went to try to do that to an outside entity, we'd run into an issue with how that would have to go out for bid. I mean, we couldn't just pick who we sold that to. What this does, in my opinion, it gets us out of the picture. We're not holding up anybody for whatever they want to do. The county or the volunteer fire departments, it kind of gets us out of the picture. Don't think it's going to have a negative impact on the education system in White County.
Just one more comment. Since we can't foretell the future, should we deed the property over to the county and 25 years later, county doesn't want it to be a volunteer fire department or a fire department, is there any way that we can have first right for that to come back to us and do with what we want at that time? Yeah.
So I'm not for sure how we need to move forward, Mr. Young, but I would look for some language to put this in a form of motion to have our director of schools and our finance department start the process of seeing the plots, seeing what we, all the easements, everything that has, and then including that information that was just shared about if in 25 years this property goes defunct on the fire department side, that it comes back to the school system.
All right. Okay, so
You can word that however you want to word it.
Mr. McDonald, can I make the motion?
I got a question really quick.
Okay, yes. Question, Ms. Fowler.
Quebec, was it?
That's interesting. We're still trying to get to the bottom of that. From my opinion, my personal opinion, I think there's probably some the school board probably has some ownership in that still, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So we'll have to get some expert opinions on that.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Young, I'll pull back what I said. You make the motion however you want to make it. How about that?
I'm not trying to take the motion. Okay, I will make a motion that our director, along with our finance director of the county, proceed with working with the county executive to come up with a plot to deed the property, volunteer fire departments back over to the county. So that's the motion. To have a second. Second by Mr. Smith. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our old business, the last item on our old business, is consideration of the RFQ tabulation regarding the facilities assessment. There was an RFQ sent out by our Director of Finance. It was RFQ number 2026-0306-01-002. That was opened in February 20th, 2026, and it the actual bids, it was published on February 20th, and the bids were opened on March 6th. From that tabulation, CMTA was the high score of that RFQ, and they were awarded that RFQ basis on the most points achieved in the scoring process. So with that being said, board members, to proceed, we would need to approve the RFQ of CMTA being awarded this RFQ, and then at that point we would proceed to contract negotiations for the services. So I'd entertain a motion for approval of this RFQ.
Motion to approve what
Motion.
Bob just said.
Motion to approve, Mr. McDonald. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Fowler. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to item number 15, Chairman's comments. Next school board meeting will be April 9th, 2026 here at the Board of Education. We'll have a work session at 5 o'clock and our regular board meeting at 6. Our spotlight will be on Woodland Park. And so that's all the comments the chairman has. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion
So
for
moved.
adjournment. Motion by Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. Smith. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Appreciate your indulgence.